The neighborhood was too quiet for midnight. Ethan Cole noticed it the moment his eyes shot open at the sound of knocking. Knock, 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 slow, methodical, measured. It wasn't the hurried rap of someone in trouble or the lazy thud of a neighbor who forgot their keys. This was deliberate, calculated. He blinked against the dim light of the digital clock. 12:03 a.m. The street outside was shrouded in that hollow stillness only new suburbs seemed to have. His small house sat near the edge of the HOA control. Community, a place he'd moved into 3 months earlier after his divorce. Cheap, neat, safe. That's what the realtor had promised. The knock came again. Knock, knock, knock. Ethan swung his legs out of bed, the wooden floor cold beneath his feet. He pulled on a hoodie and moved toward the front hallway. Every sound in the house seemed amplified, the creak of a step, the hum of the fridge. Through the peephole, he saw 2 figures standing on the porch. Uniforms. Dark. Not quite police, but close. Patches on the arms read, HOA Enforcement. His stomach tightened. That's not a real thing, right? The taller one leaned forward, the porch light flickering just enough for Ethan to see their face. Pale, unnaturally smooth. Their badge gleamed faintly, but looked wrong, like it had been printed rather than crafted. A deep voice came through the door, too crisp and mechanical to sound real. Ethan Cole, step outside. Ethan cleared his throat, suddenly aware of the chill in the air. What's going on? Violation. Immediate removal order. Removal? His voice shook despite his attempt to sound calm. At midnight? The second figure shifted, its head tilting too sharply like a puppet on strings. Step outside. No, Ethan snapped. He wasn't stupid. The HOA didn't have police. They didn't arrest people. They sent emails about trash bins and lawn heights. He reached for his phone, 911. But before he could tap the screen, the taller cop leaned even closer to the door. The porch light died completely, plunging everything into black. Knock, knock, knock. But this time, it came from inside the house. Ethan froze. Slowly, his eyes scanned the living room. Nothing. No shadows out of place. But the air felt thicker, colder. His breath fogged slightly. Then he heard the voice again, not from the porch, from behind him. Ethan Cole, step outside. He spun. The second figure was standing in the hallway, inside. No door opened, no sound, just there. Its face was blank now, white, smooth, no eyes. Its mouth opened too wide, tearing at the corners. The same calm voice spilled out, but the lips didn't move. Violation acknowledged. Ethan stumbled backward, his shoulders slamming against the wall. He tried the front door. Locked. The handle burned cold in his palm, frost forming beneath his fingers. Upstairs, something creaked. A heavy, dragging sound like someone slowly pulling chains across the floor. His phone screen blinked to black. No signal. This wasn't a break-in. It wasn't a prank. Something had entered his house without ever opening the door. Ethan darted into the kitchen, grabbing the nearest thing, a butcher knife. His breathing turned shallow, the darkness pressing in. From the hallway, both figures began to move forward, not walk, glide. Their feet hovered inches above the floor, their limbs stiff as if controlled by unseen strings. "What do you want from me?" he barked. The taller figure tilted its head, and a voice came from somewhere else, through the walls. "Inspection, collection, compliance required." Inspection for what? Ethan's voice cracked. The figures didn't answer. Their heads jerked simultaneously to the right. A loud bang erupted upstairs, the sound of a door slamming. Ethan ran to the stairs, his knife clutched tight. He didn't want to go up there, but the thought of staying in the same room as these things was worse. The second floor was even colder. His breath formed mist as he crept down the hall toward his bedroom. The door was half open. Something scraped inside. He flicked on the hallway light. It flickered twice, then buzzed out completely. "Damn it," he whispered. He pushed the door open. The window was shut. No one was there. But on the bed was his own HOA welcome packet. A single page was sticking out from it, one he'd never noticed before. It wasn't printed like the rest. It was handwritten. Jagged, black ink. In accepting this property, the resident consents to periodic collection, and beneath it, a signature. His. "I didn't sign this," he whispered, even though the ink was undeniably his. The sound of movement came from behind him. He turned slowly. One of the figures was now at the top of the stairs, blocking the exit. Its face was changing, stretching, hollowing. What had been a mouth was now a gaping black hole. The other figure appeared beside it, its limbs bending backward as if its bones were liquid. Ethan bolted for the bathroom, slamming the door and locking it. His heart pounded in his ears. Then the voice came through the walls again. "Collection overdue." Ethan knew the house had a basement. He hadn't gone down there since he moved in. It always smelled like wet stone and rust. But right now, it was the only place with a steel door. He climbed out of the bathroom window onto the roof, then shimmied down the drain pipe. He landed hard in the grass and sprinted around the house to the back door. Behind him, the front door creaked open on its own. Inside, the hallway seemed longer, warped by darkness. The two figures were gone, or hiding. He ran to the basement entrance, yanking it open. A foul, damp smell hit him like a wave. As he descended, the old hanging bulb flickered to life, casting a weak, yellow glow. The basement was almost empty except for a large metal hatch bolted into the floor. A faded stencil read, "Authorized personnel only." Ethan frowned. Why would a suburban house need a hatch like this? He tugged it open. A ladder led down into an unlit tunnel. And then behind him, footsteps, but not from above, from the hatch. He backed away slowly. The sound grew louder, metal scraping against metal like something climbing up. Then two pale hands gripped the top rung, but they weren't hands. Their fingers had too many joints curling like centipede legs. Ethan slammed the hatch shut and locked the bolt, heart pounding. The thing below pounded back. Boom, boom, boom. "Inspection," a whisper hissed from the gaps. He stumbled to the far wall, searching desperately for anything. A tool, a weapon, something to fight back. His shaking hand brushed against a breaker box. He flipped the main switch. Every light in the house went out at once, but that didn't help him. It helped them. He heard movement. Upstairs. Downstairs. In the walls. They were everywhere now. Hours or minutes passed. Time had melted into something meaningless. Ethan crouched in the dark basement, clutching the knife. The hatch creaked again. Slow this time. Patient. He wasn't alone. Then a faint light glowed behind him. He turned. On the far wall, words were burning themselves into the concrete. "You signed," a voice whispered directly into his ear, though no one was there. "Every house, every buyer, one collection per cycle." "What the hell are you?" he hissed. The voice answered in pieces, overlapping. Not one voice, many. Inspectors, collectors, keepers. Ethan realized it then. The HOA wasn't human. It was a mask, a front. Every owner before him must have disappeared the same way. He remembered the real estate agent's strange smile, the quiet neighborhood, the way no one ever came outside after dark. This was the collection. And tonight, it was his turn. The basement door burst open. The tall figure floated down the stairs, its limbs dangling like marionette strings. The second one followed, its head upside down, its grin stretching from ear to ear. Ethan ran for the tunnel hatch again, wrenching it open and descending the ladder into the black. The air down there was colder, damper. The sound of something breathing filled the narrow tunnel. He switched on his phone's flashlight. The tunnel wasn't man-made. It was older. The walls were stone, symbols were carved into them. They pulsed faintly. As he moved deeper, distant whispers surrounded him. "You signed." "Collection due. Compliance required." He glanced back. Two pale figures were descending the ladder, upside down like spiders. He ran. The tunnel twisted and dropped, opening into a massive underground chamber beneath the neighborhood. Dozens of metal doors lined the walls. On each one, a name was carved. Some names were decades old, some were fresh, and one said Ethan Cole. His breath caught. The door below his name swung open with a creak. Ethan bolted for the far exit of the chamber, shoving aside rusted lockers and old filing cabinets. The figures followed but didn't run. They didn't need to. They moved through, space like water, appearing and reappearing in the corners of his vision. He stumbled upon an iron staircase and climbed frantically. It led to a maintenance tunnel. Above, a metal grate glimmered faintly with moonlight. He smashed the grate open and crawled out into the empty street. The neighborhood was silent. Every house is dark. Every car is unmoving. Ethan ran, block after block, but the streets kept repeating. Maple Drive, Crescent Lane, Maple Drive again. He was trapped inside a loop. Then the voice came again, closer this time. "Collection never ends." They appeared. At the end of the street, their hollow faces catching the moonlight. Behind them, doors of other houses opened one by one, and more figures stepped out. Not two, not three, dozens, all wearing the same fake HOA uniforms. Ethan collapsed onto the pavement, exhausted, knife trembling in his hand. They closed in, silent, like a tide of darkness. One of them crouched inches from him, its eyes two black voids. "You're the last this cycle," it whispered. Ethan's mind flashed to the neighborhood records he'd briefly seen after moving in. A long history of owners, no forwarding addresses. No explanations, just new people every year. The HOA wasn't maintaining the property. It was feeding. "Why me?" he breathed. "Because you answered the door." The figures moved in unison. Cold hands gripped his arms, legs, and throat. A strange light filled the street as the pavement beneath him began to crack, revealing the same stone tunnel below. The last thing he saw before the darkness took him was the sign at the edge of the neighborhood. "Welcome home."